All right, all right. Welcome, 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 everybody. It is Wednesday, and we are recapping for Mic Drop March. I am your host today, Coach Chivonne Gabriel, and I am so excited to be here with you all today. I hope y'all are as hyped as I am, okay? Hey, Dawn, how you doing? From YouTube, who else is in the room? Come on in, let's get into it. Come on, everyone. We had a great time yesterday, had a great time last week. Lisa talked quite a bit. Hey, Dia. We talked quite a bit about the 3 speaker essentials. So I'm going to start doing a little recap. Hey, Cooking with Christina. All right. Smiles and hugs and kisses and love to all of you. Come on in. Hey, 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 hey. All right. The YouTube family's in the building. If you guys see me looking to my left, I have a little outline here. So I just want to make sure I am tracking and getting all the things inside. Okay. I'm excited. So I am one of 24 speaker advocate coaches on the Motivating the Masses campus. And we are hype and excited to have you all here today. Yesterday, right? Those of you who joined us, welcome back. Those of you who are new, welcome home. Lisa talked and taught about the 3 speaker essentials. So I just want to do a quick little recap. For those of you who are going to be joining us in Ignite, you know that's happening April 3rd. For some of you who are joining us again, you're going to get into it with us. And I just want to share just my excitement about what's going to happen here. So, you know that in Ignite, we are going to be coaching you, which is why you're getting some FaceTime with some of these coaches here. Last week, you guys met Kevin Goins, and he was really doing his thing in the recap of the Valley and offering some juicy feedback. So I'm going to do the same thing today. And our job is to make sure that your experience in Ignite is going to be all of the things and then some. Okay? Wonderful. So let's just recap yesterday's lesson to make sure that everyone is on the same page and get this thing going. So, speaker essentials, right? Lisa talked about you having the opportunity to put together what's called a speaker one sheet, right? This is basically like a visual resume, if you will, that details who you are and what you offer to the audience, right? And one of the things she said, you guys have heard the catchphrase, what's in it for me, right? That's what conference organizers want to know, audience members want to know, event planners want to know. And so this speaker sheet would answer some of those questions. And she actually showed us a couple, one that was simple, Claudia Chan's, and another, Narissa's. So I'm going to talk a little bit. Okay, there's Claudia's. Yes. And so Claudia just identifies in the beginning of her speaker sheet, one, that she's an international best-selling author, a mindset life coach, and she tells you exactly who her audience is in the beginning. She's aiming to empower Asian women with a focus on self-discovery, and she helps clients cultivate curiosity, compassion, and courage to unlock their potential. So she gets right into, here is what I do, here is who I serve, and here is how I do it, right? In this speaker sheet, she identifies a few of her signature topics. You're meant for more, 5 tips to raise confident kids, and 3 self-love techniques for a more resilient you. Then she offers you some pictures on the left there to show you her in action, a little bit of lifestyle, having a good time on stage and perhaps coaching someone. And then we've got a review about someone's experience having had Claudia speak. So, and then she's giving you all the ways that you can contact her and see what she's doing on social media. This is a really nice, clean example. It's bright, it draws attention, and it lets you know exactly what she's doing and how she's doing it. Next, we saw Narissa's. Now, theirs was far more detailed, right? The blues, the hues used, transforming lives one conversation at a time. Let's see the next sheet. They have about 4 or 5 pages, but on this page, they identify the keynote topics that they cover. So they're giving examples of the different things that they can offer to different audiences. And I want to say one of the other sheets identifies the kind of workshops they provide. Now, one of the questions that did come up, I'm just jumping around a little bit right here. One person asked yesterday, how do I condense 17 years of experience into a speaker sheet? And I saw that this person actually did a really good job and condensed all of that information, all of his wins and topics and accolades into about 3 pages. There is no right or wrong way to do it. You just want to make sure that the information is easily visible, easy to read, easy to access, and is clear and concise in what it is we're offering. I'm hoping that's answering some of the questions here. So to just recap a little bit, Lisa also mentioned, yes. Claudia's speaker sheet is very simple and streamlined. So one of the things Lisa mentioned yesterday that I want to make sure I reiterate here is that the speaker sheet helps you to build your credibility. That's one. Two, it helps you to identify your market. And three, how you can help, right? This is not just for speakers. This is not just for um, folks who are aiming to be public figures. This is for anyone across all industries. One thing she said that kind of made me chuckle yesterday was, if you're an author, you need to be able to communicate well when you open your mouth and communicate. So it's for authors too, because you're going to have to sell that book. If you want to sell that book, you need to be able to communicate with your audience as you're, making moves in this world. Okay, now moving along. One of the other things you want to make sure that your speaker one sheet covers is social proof if you've got any. Um, Claudia's identified someone's response about their experience of her talk or her workshop. Others have also included as seen in banners in the bottom of their speaker sheet. If you don't have that yet, it's totally okay, because we're all building, we're all growing, we're all students. So collect information as you go and park it. Park it somewhere so that you can pull it when you need it. And moving along. Oh, let me also mention this here, guys. It is perfectly okay, Lisa mentioned this yesterday, for you to be able to stage some of those photos for your speaker sheet, as long as it is credible and speaks to and shows what you will actually be doing, right? So maybe you have a bunch of friends who you can gather in a room to take some of these pictures or a stock photo. It is perfectly okay to do that as long as it's credible, right? All right, so we're rocking and rolling. Next up, we talked about the shot list. Remember, this is the portion where at some point John came in behind Lisa when she had her hands up like this, right? There it is, the sample of a shot list. So action shots, people dancing or clapping their hands or hugging, intimate moments, if you will, emotion, that type of thing. One of the things John, I think, mentioned too was getting shots from the back of the room as well as from the front of the room, perhaps behind you as a speaker, to show the folks that are in front of you there. So again, stock photos are also something that you can use to do this as you're building your credibility, right? Okay, all right, we're rocking, we're rolling. Okay, now one of the third speaker essentials, you're welcome, Andrea. One of the third speaker essentials that Lisa covered yesterday was the speaker reel. That was a very cool one. We got to see Annabelle's, who her speaker was just amazing. We didn't watch all of it, but it highlighted one of her experiences regarding 9/11. In that speaker reel, you're sort of hearing her tell some of her story while she's talking. Now, I know, I'm just going to pause here for a moment because I know just how overwhelming all of this can be. So I'm going to slow myself down right? So I make sure I don't lose anybody in the process, right? We're rocking, we're rolling, but we're going to slow it down just a touch. Because here is what I want to just give you some assurance with. Joining Ignite allows us to be able to really spread our wings a bit and relax and like let our hair down a bit to be able to go through these things in more detail, giving ourselves more time to be able to spend with you as the speaker advocate coaches, guiding you through each of the techniques, each of the tools, and giving you some space to play with it, sit with it, roll it around, test it out, feel it out. So I don't want you to feel like because we're doing this webinar here that you've got to nail it and come out the gate guns blazing. No, that's what we want to offer you to be able to do in Ignite when you get started with us on April 3rd. Okay, so you're not going to miss anything by taking your time here today. Join us April 3rd and we can get all the information covered, and you're going to have the most amazing community to be able to hold yourself accountable with and just spend some time with as you're learning these things. Okay. This is just a recap. We just want to, make sure that we offer you something, but we can't do it all in an hour or in 30 minutes. Okay. So I'll get back to that in a moment. Do not feel alarmed. I will not leave you behind. Okay. So this speaker reel, and then I'm going to double back to some things to just highlight some things, okay? The speaker reel, that can be about 60 to 90 seconds. A simple one can be purely instrumental. It could also be a video where you are speaking, or perhaps it includes some voiceover, right? Voiceover is when you've got all the motion happening in the video, but you're speaking over all the action that we're seeing, right? You can use a combination of pictures and or videos. Now, as for your homework, just want to double back here. Let me mention this too. Your speaker reel can be done on your phone. A lot of times we think in order to do something really well, we've got to hire a professional and spend money that we may or may not have. And that can actually slow us up when we want to be able to stay in some action, right? So let's not overcomplicate it. Let's make it easy on ourselves. I've got a trusty thing here that I take with me almost everywhere now. And this is a phone stand. It can hold up the phone vertically or horizontally. Take it with you, get the shot that you need, phone a friend who can come along with you to the park or to the city, wherever you feel like is going to capture the essence of who you are, and get some shots. Get some friends who will sit down and just let you do a talk, stage a talk to be able to capture the footage that you need and edit that thing. There's so many apps now that we have available to us to allow us to be able to take the video and edit it the way we need it. You can use Instagram for that. You can use TikTok for that. There are a number of amazing apps that we can use. All righty here. I see a question here. I'm just going to read that. What if some of the speaking engagements are on panels, others or virtual conferences? Okay. Are you asking about what that shot list would look like, or the video footage? Because those things you're able to edit those to your liking. And you can always capture, let's say you take that same cell phone stand that I just showed you. You can take those things to events where you are a panelist. I've actually done it. I'm going to be doing it this weekend here too. And post that thing up in the corner and get your footage. You can record the whole thing or I think it's easier to just record the whole thing. That way you can go back home and edit it down to the sound bites that you feel you wanted to capture and use that. That's what I would do. And it works like a charm. If you're on a panel, one thing I am going to say, because Kevin brought it up yesterday, is be mindful of your face. Sometimes I have to tell my face to wake on up and smile, because when I'm concentrating, I'm from Brooklyn, New York, so it gets a little serious. Okay. All right. So now I want to be able to go back and give you guys some feedback on some of the homework that was submitted. You guys did an amazing job. There was so much homework. Let's go on and jump in to some of these Speaker One sheets. You were asked to go onto Canva, create a free account if you don't have one, and to search Speaker One sheet and to simply just put your name on it to just get a visual of what that's going to look like when you start putting your information on there. Some of you guys hit this thing out the park, okay? So I just want to go on and give you guys some feedback here. And if we can just start pulling some of them up, we'll review it together. All right. Mia Turner Whitley. See what you did here with the watermark in the background. That's beautiful. And so this was the assignment, simply just to put your face, your name on there. Now, if I were you, I think you did a great job with the information. I would use a color photo, but I love that it's front facing, just a little turn to the side because you want to make sure people can see your face, because if they're not familiar with you, right, you want to make sure they can see you head on. And Mia also added her logo in the bottom right. It is perfectly okay here too to have these numbers at the bottom. If you've had a lot of social media engagement, that is something that people like to see today. So that sort of information is great. I would only up level you this one thing here. You want to make sure that the font is big enough, dark enough for people to read clearly so that people don't push your thing to the side. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Otherwise, good job, Mia. Let's take a look at another one. Monique D. Allen. I see you jumped in there and said, y'all are going to see my face today, and a beautiful face that is. So this is not necessarily a Speaker One sheet, but it is a great start. I love the brightness of your smile, the brightness of your photo. If you're going to do some print next to your face, though, I would center that square a little more, and I would shrink the size of it. I would shrink the size of it so that it's not competing with your face. Because right now, as it is, it's almost as big, if not bigger, than your image. So I would shrink that, and perhaps I would choose a color that would pop a little bit more so you can tell the person looking at your Speaker One sheet exactly where you want them to look. But otherwise, great job, great photo, and I can't wait to see what you do next, Monique. All right, let's take a look at some more. Eldana. This was a great one. It is actually very bright. I like the photo that you chose because it's also vibrant. You're giving us color, and the information is very clear, right? We see what you do. Now, we want to make sure too, guys, as you're editing these one sheets, that the font you choose is easy to read and that you choose a font size that fits nicely and clean in the box. So where it says transformational speaker and negotiation expert, I'm assuming that that's what it says, but not because I can see clearly that it says negotiation expert, right? So that's something that, you'll edit on your own as time permits. And you also want to think about brand colors. That's something that we also dive into when we're in Ignite, spending some time together. We have a little conversation about the psychology of colors and how those things really speak to you as the audience member or even as a speaker, how that makes you feel. And so branding and complementary colors, all of that comes up in Ignite. But other than that, Eldana, this is a beautiful example of a Speaker One sheet. She's got the banner at the bottom there too as well that says as seen in. If you don't have any of that information, it is completely okay to leave it out. But if you've got it, think about sharing it down there, keeping it nice and clean and streamlined. This is not busy. It is very clear what she covers in her topics. It is very clear what her social media reach is. So this is a great example of a Speaker One sheet. Job well done. All right, Kevin Lee. Now, this was a person, if I remember correctly, who actually shared that he had over 17 years of experience and was wondering how he could condense all of that down into a Speaker One sheet. Like Narissa did, it is perfectly fine to have several sheets. So, Kevin Lee, I believe that you submitted 3 sheets. Yes, identifying the kinds of workshops and trainings that you provide and offering people options. Uh, I love the size of the get in touch part because it tells me exactly where I need to look if I want to reach Kevin. Some people out here, y'all, are not reading. So I think it's great too to have a eye-catching get in touch. How do I get in touch? How we can reach you. I also especially love, Kevin, about yours that you have people in the background that we see that, okay, here's a person who has had a high touch point. If you've got that sort of footage, wonderful. If you don't, stock photos are for everyone. Okay. Host praise, that's great. So that kind of lets people know how people have felt about sitting in on any workshops or talks you have provided. All righty. Was there another sheet on Kevin's? Okay, that's that. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yes. I remember this sheet. This is amazing too. So he's giving you some stats. If anything, Kevin, my only up level for you, I would actually flip this image. I would put the photo with you in front of the audience up top and perhaps shrink the top of the client served and put that on the bottom there somewhere where your image is in front of the people. But clearly, our guy Kevin has been in these streets serving the people. Okay. So he wants to let you know he is not new to this game. All right. And so I also want to be able to take, great job, Kevin, take a couple questions if you guys have any. And while I'm waiting for those questions, whew, I just got to take a breath here. I want to make sure that I do right by you all, okay? I don't want to leave you in the dust and make you feel as if I just breezed through all of that and that's just the end of that and you're on your own. You're not. You're not. Coming up on April 3rd, we are starting our next round of Ignite. That is where I myself, Chivonne Gabriel, and 23 other wonderful speaker advocate coaches will get inside the room with you to make sure that the nuggets that we dropped here this week, the nuggets that Lisa dropped last week, and the nuggets that you're going to get next week, yeah, because there's more, that you can come inside that room with us and get fresh content from Lisa. She's going to teach several different techniques. They will be pre-recorded. And you have the pleasure of sitting in the room with speaker coaches like myself. And we are going to help you develop these skills, massage them, play with them, tease them, stretch them out, stretch them out, stretch them wide. We're going to do all the things. We're going to have all the fun. And we don't want to sell you short. So we have to do you right and invite you out to join us to kick things off and Ignite starting April 3rd. Okay. Now, I did not put a thumbs down. That's not right. Do right by me. April 3rd. There we go. Fireworks, pomp, and circumstance because it's a party. It's a party and you don't want to miss that. And so you see that link there on the bottom there that says motivatingthemasses.com/ignite. I want you to go on in there and make sure that if any of this has resonated with you, if you feel like, I just want some help fine tuning my story, identifying my story, playing with my story, if you feel like you've got something burning inside of you and you want to be able to reach more people, this is the place for you. Okay. I can tell you about my story, but another day, another time. But I had joined this community just trying to really hone in on my own story and got so much more than I bargained for. So I'm just trying to tell you that's my witness. If you're looking for these things and speaking is your jam, or you think you might want to be a speaker, look no further. Join us in Ignite April 3rd, 2025. We're getting ready to kick it off and we're going to have a wonderful time. So much like what you've experienced here today, yesterday with Lisa, last week with Lisa and Kevin, next week we've got more. We've got more. We've got more. Join us. Next week, you're going to hear from Lisa again. She's going to be talking about authenticity as it relates to your social media, making sure that that thing hits and that it connects, and like how you can really bring things together and use social media as a tool to connect with folks. And so following that Tuesday, on Wednesday, you're going to see Sac Joanna and Sac DeAndrea come in and recap some of that and just reinforce what you would have learned and experienced and gotten a taste of the day before, right? So that's how we are going to be closing out Mic Drop March. I want to make sure that we see you there. That is 9 a.m. PST, 12 p.m. EST, or figure out whatever time zone you're in, how you can catch it, okay? Because we're international out here. We are a global community with a global reach, global impact. So, all right. If there are some questions, oh, I see one from Facebook. Where do I start on my speaker sheet sizzle reel if I don't have much speaking experience? Okay. So, where do you start? Understand that these are tools, right? So I just feel like if you're in the space, if you don't have much content, one, you'd be surprised. Look back through your content and see what jumps out at you. If you've done a talk here at a church, at a library, at a gathering, or what have you, you may already have content that you don't even realize is applicable for this kind of tool. If you don't, I'm doubtful, but if you don't, right, and you're starting out, park this tool. Just go into Canva and set it up, put your name on there, and you'll be able to come back to it. Maybe it's time for you to, just plan a formal event or an informal event and just start taking some pictures. If you don't feel up to that, feel free to go on and just start taking some pictures and identify some things that you are passionate about. What is your message? What's your message? What is it that you want to share? What are the topics that you have covered? Have you done some talks? Have you done some videos? Have you shared on social media different topics of interest? Have you covered any of these things before? And if you have, start grabbing that content. Something that I do, guys, I have a notes app and I just start parking information. Just start. Just start parking information. There are things in there that I haven't shared with anyone, but it's there as a reference point so that when I'm ready to pull the trigger, I have somewhere to start. Just start. And I hate to oversimplify that, but it really is that simple, guys. I think sometimes we get in our heads and we like overcomplicate the thing, and it ain't that serious. Just start pulling the content, start pulling the information, park it in a file in your notes app, and get on in there. Okay, another question. I don't want to be a stage speaker. Does Ignite still make sense for me? Absolutely yes. Unequivocally yes. In no shape or form, absolutely. Always going to say yes. Now, let me tell you why. Even if you're not a stage speaker, you're still a speaker, right? There are sounds coming out of that mouth every time. And if there's a story that you want to tell, it doesn't have to be on a great platform. Not everyone in here in this community is looking to be an international speaker or a national speaker or something like that. But if there is a story that you want to tell, even to one person, and you want to tell it with impact, you want to tell it with a measure of influence. You want to tell it with clarity. You want to tell it with confidence. You want to increase your certainty. Then absolutely Ignite is for you because you're going to get that and so much more. If you want that thing to hit, if you want it to strike, if you want it to resonate, if you want it to reach someone, there are those of us who feel like we're natural storytellers. And there are those of who feel like I've got a story and I'm really just trying to figure out how I can do that. Ignite is a safe space where you'll be able to hone that skill and really stretch yourself to see what you're made of. What will we walk away with from Ignite? Okay. Well, if I could condense that, because that could be a long answer, I could give you a short one. I'm going to give you the short answer. Ignite is going to equip you with skills that help you take your storytelling from that of a neophyte to that of a practicing gladiator. Like if you are new to the gym, this is going to give you some how-tos on how to build your speaker muscles. So we are covering things from how to tell an engaging story, how to connect with your audience. And it's even going to help you connect better with yourself, better with your family, better with your friends, make you a better employee, make you a better leader. Those are some of the things that we're covering. So we play around a lot with techniques that are really about the art and science of speaking, but it is far more detailed than that. I don't want to give it all away, but there's also some personal development. There's some transformation work. If you are open, you will get it out of Ignite for certain. So we're covering just a little bit of the business side. We're giving you tips and tools and tricks and content. And I still have my Ignite workbook to be able to walk away with. You're also going to get an accountability group. This accountability group you will meet with, and you guys can hold each other accountable and practice with one another, share with one another, learn from one another, practice with one another. And then at the end of that, we do extend an invitation to you to deliver, stand and deliver a 3-minute talk. So from the very beginning, you start crafting a story and you continue to work on different elements of that story, different tools, different techniques to enhance and elevate your storytelling, to help make you a powerful speaker. You're also going to walk away with some lifelong connections. I can guarantee you that. Now, I feel like I have really exhausted the masses here. I think that we have covered quite a bit. Let's see. Let's see. All right. What else have we got? I think that covers it, guys. So if there's nothing else, I've enjoyed my time with you. Join us next week, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, across all platforms. Lisa will be going live to close out Mic Drop March, and it is going to be a goodie. Authenticity wins. That's the topic that we're covering, and that's what we're closing out with. So that's my time. I've enjoyed you all. Can't wait to see you again. Drop your comments in the chat. Say hello. Now, if you are on Zoom or on Facebook Live, if you're on Zoom, open up your mic and say bye to your people, bye to your family. Love to all of you in the community. Love having you here. Love having you here. Ciao, ciao, ciao. Yes, yes, yes. Love it, love it, love it. You all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.